How often do you see clients who are being forced out of their jobs too early when the boss calls them in? Hey, listen, you're suddenly retired. You're out.
Well, not regularly, but it does happen.
Happen.
A person in their late 50s will get let go, and though they've got a great skill set, the fact is the employer can hire younger people who can be trained to do the same job far less expensively.
Is automation a big issue around the Ozarks? Is by machines
become more and more so, and we haven't even seen the beginning of what AI may do, artificial intelligence.
For sure, yeah.
So, even in the news business, guys like you, we may in the future not need them because we have holograms of anchors that actually do the broadcast. Ooh.
You're real.
Yep. You and I are
real.
We're here together now.
Well, automation, AI. What are some of the other reasons that have been around for a while that would force people into early retirement?
Well, first, there's the fact that the employer can replace them for half the money sometimes. Sometimes it's layoffs because of just a general economic downturn that causes the company to downsize the workforce. Sometimes people get sick for a while and they just can't work. It takes a long time to recover. And by the time they do, the job is gone, or they decide that they actually like being done with that job and they don't want to go back to work. Sometimes it's not the person I'm talking about that got sick, but it's their spouse or their parents. So they step aside from work to be a caregiver. There are myriad reasons that people wind up unemployed. I think of my mother, Cheryl Watts, down in Republic. She was a teacher in multiple systems throughout the Ozarks. She taught in Crane and Marinville and Galena and Republic. I think I covered all of them. She had enough years to retire, but she didn't know if she was ready. My dad, Jim, pointed out to her that she had a baby granddaughter and that she could retire now and spend time with that grandbaby, or she could keep on working until my daughter was in school, and then she'd really be retirement age and she could quit, but there wouldn't be any granddaughter to spend time with. So she opted to retire, and she was very active and engaged as grandma in the life of my daughters. So there are a lot of reasons that people retire early.
We all are pretty resilient in the Ozarks especially. We try to figure it out. What do you believe is the first thing we should do, Barry, if we're forced into an early retirement?
I believe that you should sit down and take a deep breath.
Calm down.
The world is still spinning on its axis. There are other opportunities if you must have another opportunity. But first, let's assess where you are. What if you don't go back to work? Can you afford to live? Can you start taking an income, a living out of your retirement savings and still have enough money to last until you're 100? Those are the kinds of things that you need to figure out, Ralph. And we can help people figure that out by doing some math. And so then the next question is, well, if you do retire, what are you going to do with your time? You can't just sit on the couch. There's got to be something to occupy your time. This is the reason that younger viewers in their 20s and 30s may be saving for retirement, so that when they get to their 50s, they've got options and choices. They may not want to work. And that's really what good retirement planning does. Doesn't mean that you quit. It just means that you have options and work becomes optional. Now, I'm 61 years old. I could retire. I have that option. But I really like helping people. I love the team of advisors and the support staff that we have at WealthCare. I enjoy doing radio and TV with you, Ralph. And so I've chosen to continue on working. But when you get to the point where work is optional, well, in a sense, you've already retired, because if you keep on working, you can pull the plug any day, and that's a pretty good thing to be able to do. It's a great sense of freedom and control. So the big thing about retirement planning, Ralph, is it makes work optional.
And for me, I retired at 68 and a half. We talk about half birthdays. By the way, talk to Barry about when you're 59 and a half. That's an important age milestone. We can get to that with you later. But I retired at 68 and a half. I'm 70 now, 70 and a half. And I just do the Barry Watts Show. Work is optional for me. And a lot of us, Barry, no matter what field we're in, we get aged out of the profession. When you are 70, what can you do? So this is something I can do to still help people and serve and use the gifts and along with
it's used when you were on broadcast TV, just doing it a different way.
And I'll mention for our friends, I know you don't remember, I had the distinction of being, I was the first news anchorman on KSPR 33.
And you told me the first story that you reported from the anchor desk on KSPR was about Paul Mueller Company.
Right. They had a big development that day at the Paul Mueller Company, but in the late 80s, I was doing the news in Springfield and still on TV in Springfield. It all comes full circle.
It's really pretty interesting. And what a small world we live in.
Work is optional, so we hope that you can do something that you love to do as well if you're suddenly forced to. And thank goodness, they say it depends which door you go out, if you go out the front door or the back door at your job. So I went out the front door and then went right through the door of the WealthCare Corporation to be able to talk to this man right here.
We're glad to have you.
Glad to be with you. Glad you're with us too. Well, Barry, how does a comprehensive plan for retirement really work for us if we're faced with an early retirement? I wouldn't say, forced. We'll say if it's an early retirement, how can you help us out on that?
Well, if you have a plan, then when you step away from the workforce, you know whether or not you must go back and whether going back to work maybe is optional instead. You know the date when you can retire and stay retired. So a well-constructed plan addresses income and taxes and healthcare and estate planning. So you don't have to be scared, Ralph. You're in control, the master of your own destiny. And that's a really powerful thing. It's a gift that we love giving clients who go through our 6 Steps to Retirement Confidence process. If you like this content, please follow and subscribe. And for more information, please look in the description below.